Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, Why is Finding a Good Man So Hard for Single Women Over 35? And guys, this article is obviously written by a woman, and she's obviously in her mid-30s, and she's frustrated because guess what? She's alone and can't find a man, or more importantly, a good man, right? And so this whole article, to no surprise, is her going to be going off on her thing about why it's so hard to find a good man, and there's no good men out there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to have fun picking it apart and calling BS every step of the way. Now, before I get into it, let's break this down. Again, she says, why is finding a good man so hard for single women over 35? Well, what is the definition in today's world for your average woman of a good man? Is it a guy that's loyal, kind, supportive, nurturing, all these very good positive traits that you think would be characteristics that would define a good man? No. We know what it is. It is the sixes. 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, 6-pack, 6 inches plus down there. And we can also add in advanced degrees. We can add in probably speaks multiple languages, travels the world. So if you try to put all that in together into one guy, what percentage of guys out there actually are going to make that amount? Good luck. Very small percentage. And yet the delusion involved thinking they can actually get a guy, that guy exists, let alone they can get that guy, it's out there. It runs rampant. It's crazy. And, again, define good. Well, that's usually what it is with the younger crowd, the teens, 20s, and 30s women. And what's funny is, guys, is that we all know this. There are tons of good guys out there, really good men. But unless you, in today's world, unless you have those characteristics that are seen to be as good qualities, you're not considered to be a good man. And you get women that write articles like this and complain that there's no real men out there, there aren't any good men, it's men's fault, blah, 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 which is bullshit, because there's tons of great guys out there. But what it all boils down to, really, is that women are too damn picky. Okay? Unbelievably psychotically picky. And where does a lot of that come from? Well, it comes from decades of the feminist movement telling women they deserve everything. It comes from advertisements and articles like in Cosmopolitan magazine, brainwashing them. It also comes from the never-ending, incessant validation attention from guys on social media and dating apps, building up their egos that they're worth everything. So that's guys' fault. And I tell you guys, never do that. I tell you, don't go liking pictures on Instagram, don't go liking pictures on Facebook, validating them, text bombing them all the time, to get their attention, flooding them with emails and things like that on the dating apps, just builds up the egos. And the funny thing is that, honestly, the delusion out there is unbelievable, because with all those things I was just mentioning now, that makes women that are just average think they're 10s, right? I mean, you got to be kidding me. And that's just the average ones. Let's talk about the good-looking ones. That takes it to a whole new level, right? But the reality is, a lot of these women that are so darn picky and complain there's no good guys out there, how many of them are have 1, 2, maybe 3 kids already from different baby daddies, have tens of thousands of dollars in debt, credit card debt from college for these useless liberal arts degrees, gender studies, sociology, political science, psychology, whatever, that makes not a whole lot of money, and yet they know their value, right? And deserve a top man. Give me a break. But anyhow, guys, had to do my little rant there. It is Monday. So I'm going to go into this article here and pick it apart. So it starts off. On our third date, he told me he had you-know-what with hundreds of escorts while he was married. You might be picturing a toothless, unemployable criminal, but he was a charming, intelligent, attractive, and successful lawyer. I had fallen hard for him in a short time period. His confession blindsided me. I immediately wondered the obvious. Why would you admit that to someone you were dating unless you were in a self-sabotage mode? I asked a few of my friends. One friend's reply was enlightening. And this is her friend saying, he confessed to having you-know-what with escorts because he wanted to see if he could get away with it in the future. His wife clearly allowed it, so he wanted to see if he would. He told you who he was, a disloyal man when his S-word needs are not being met. And you know who you are. Are you a woman who is cool with her boyfriend having you-know-what with escorts? Ah, no, I stammered. I was hoping I wouldn't have to settle for a relationship with an STD risk. There obviously wasn't a fourth date. So, she's talking about this date she went on. She fell hard, as she said, for this guy, right? Now, this is what she said about him. Charming, intelligent, attractive, successful lawyer. Translation, attractive, so that could be kind of go into the whole like 6 feet tall, six-pack department. So he's good looking. He's intelligent. He is a successful lawyer. Aha, status. He obviously has an advanced degree because you can't be a lawyer unless you obviously go to law school and pass the bar exam. And he's a lawyer, successful, so obviously he makes good money. So we got good looking, we got the degrees, we got the status of his job, and we got the money. These are all things. And she fell hard for that guy. So she's choosing that guy. Again, the top guy. And guess what? It's not working out for her. So therefore, here we are with her writing an article saying, why is it so hard to find a good man? How about the guys out there that don't have the law degrees, aren't making the same kind of money, probably good looking guys, but not maybe as good looking as him? She's not interested in them. She's interested in the top percentage of guys. And a lot of those guys, not all, but a lot of them could be total D-bags, right? I've known plenty, believe me. Or simply they're good guys, but they know their value because they actually have value, and they're not settling down. They're not getting married. They're not having kids. Not a chance in hell. But she's going for the top guy, and it's not working out, so therefore we're all bad. It's a load of crap. She goes on, if you're rolling your eyes by now, I don't blame you. I'm tired of regaling readers with my horrific dating tales too, and I don't have a stomach to write about this crap anymore. It's hard to stay hopeful. Then choose different guys. End of story. You're obviously looking in the wrong department. You obviously have overestimated your value, and you're obviously choosing these guys that, in your opinion, are the top guys. And guess what? They're not exactly what you want. So you're just going to say all guys are there's no good guys out there and there's no real men? It's nonsense. But this is what so many women do. And again, they write articles about this and complain and complain and complain and blame guys because they're alone. She says, I am not alone. Well, no shit. You got tons of them complaining about this all the time. I do an article like this once a month. She says, I'm not alone. It's a question that many women over 35 keep asking. Where have all the good men gone? Fortunately, economics and game theory have an answer. The eligible bachelor paradox. Game theorist Mark Gaiman developed this theory to explain why the dating pool of eligible men shrinks for women after the age of 35. Well, here's a newsflash. As women get older, they're less desirable. End of story. A woman's prime is her late teens and her 20s. That's when she's the best looking in the looks department in her face, her body, and all. Not all, but most. That's their peak. And as they get older, it declines. I'm not saying you can't have damn good looking women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. I've seen plenty, I know plenty. But it's not the same as the teens and 20s. But a lot of these women think they're still as desirable in their 30s and 40s as they were in their teens and 20s. And they're out of their damn mind to they think that's the case. He says, buckle up. You're about to get a scary lesson on why you should settle for Mr. Good Enough. Right there. I'm going to read that again. She says, buckle up. You're about to get a scary lesson on why you should settle for Mr. Good Enough. How many times have I told you guys in my videos that by and large, most women settle? They realize, just like her, they can't get the type of guys they want, so they'll settle for some other guy. They'll pick a guy out a mile away who's marriage material, a guy that's already developing his dad bod before he's even a dad, and they choose to marry that guy. And the guys think, yeah, I got this great girl, this hot girl. I finally win. No, you didn't. She settled for you because she couldn't get the guy she really wanted. That's why. And why do you think that she doesn't do all the things in the sack that you thought she would? Or she doesn't treat you the way that you like someone that's really in love, or talk to you that way, or look at you that way? Because she's not, because she settled for you. That's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of guys, but I'm being honest here. I'm not gonna BS you guys. I'm keeping it real. Right here, she said it right there. Anyhow, according to Gaiman, noble women fall on a spectrum of either high or low quality. High-quality women possess attractiveness and social adeptness, while low-quality women have less of these traits. while high-quality women have the majority of the bargaining power in the dating market, so they hold out for Mr. Right. Yeah, in the teens and 20s, in their prime, women have the leverage because they got never-ending guys chasing after them, and they're at their prime. But as they get older, and pretty much all women eventually want to have a relationship or get married or settle in some fashion, that's when guys start having the power, because our value starts picking up in our 30s and 40s, and women's declines, and they want those relationships. Now, if all guys out there realized where they were in the grand scheme of things in their 30s and 40s, they wouldn't be so quick to just go for the girl as settling for them. They would understand they got options, but they've obviously spent so much time in their junior high, high school, college, 20s, no girl's paying attention to them. The first time a good-looking girl pays attention to them, boom, they put a ring on her finger. They don't realize the potential they have in their 30s and 40s, and they can be selective because these women before, they're ready to settle, and they're getting desperate. Puts the guy in the upper hand, but most guys don't realize that. It says here, as those women age, their dating pool for eligible bachelors gets smaller and smaller as the high-quality men are coupled with less choosy women. Hear that? The high-quality men are with the less choosy women. It's the picky women that are alone. The less choosy women who actually realize, this is ridiculous. I can't possibly get all these top guys. And when I say top guys, I'm talking the guys who make hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year, drive a Ferrari, have a yacht, all that. A lot of young women think they can get that. It's crazy. And the number of eligible bachelors decrease, those high-quality women continue to compete for the same limited number of high-quality men. But these women do not lower their standards. Hear that? Mostly because they're used to calling the shots and might be blissfully unaware that their dating clout is diminishing. Translation, they're getting older. They're not as good looking. Wrinkles are starting to form here. Boobs are starting to sag a little bit. Gray hairs are popping up here, down there. Not as desirable anymore. And yet the egos keep going up. The bloom may be coming off the rose, but the rose still doesn't want to grow with the weeds. And besides, many women decide that being single and cultivating their own damn garden is a better option. That's what they all say, but it's not what they really mean. Unfortunately, this leaves the dating market with a disproportionate amount of less than desirable men and a glut of eligible single ladies. See, right there, less than desirable men. She makes it out to be that either you have the top percentage guys that are all, they have all the sixes and advanced degrees and all that, cultured, travel the world, make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and everybody else is, every other guy out there is 5 feet tall, overweight, on welfare, doesn't have a job. That's pretty much what she's kind of making out to be. It's nonsense. You got plenty of guys out there that are great guys that are not 6 feet tall. They're 5'10", 5'11", 5'9". They might not have a six-pack, but they're relatively fit. They don't make $100,000 a year, but they might make 90 or 85 or 80. And a lot of parts of this country, that's not bad. I live in a part of the country that's very expensive, so you got to make more up here. But a lot of parts of the country, you make $80,000 a year, you're comfortable. It just all depends where you live. But those are, in her words, less than desirable men. And they wonder why they can't get a guy. They wonder why they're alone. Unfortunately, this leaves the dating market with a disproportionate amount. I said that part. The eligible bachelor paradox is illustrated with data from dating apps. According to the 2019 Pew Research Century study, 57% of men reported they did not receive enough messages, while only 24% of women reported the same. Aviv Goldegger, an engineer for the dating website Hinge, proposed an explanation for the discrepancy. She says the top 5% of men on dating apps receive 41.1% of all women's likes. Top 5% of guys. So the hot guys hog all the attention while the regular guys get ignored. In contrast, the top 5% of women on dating apps receive 30.6% of men's likes. And if you're a man in the bottom 50%, you will only get a dismal 4.3% of all women's likes. That sounds about right. But if you are a woman in the bottom 50%, it's not all grim, 7.9% of the likes. The point is that the women at the bottom still get more attention from guys because guys are going to chase after them. Because let's be honest here, a lot of guys, there isn't a guy out there that hasn't hooked up with some woman at least once that No way in hell do they want any of their buddies to know they hooked up with her, okay? They would sneak her in at night and sneak her out before the sun rises, okay? And it's pretty much as long as she's under 200 pounds and has taken a shower in the last 24 hours, okay, for a quickie. But they don't want anybody else to see her. So even the bottom ones will get attention. Clearly, this illustrates what Darwin knew all along. It's ladies' choice. And if you feel like the choice is yours, you're more likely to delay that choice and wait for the ideal partner. Now add this to the problem of socioeconomics. Statistically, women seek wealth in a partner. Really, I never caught on to that ever. Men seek beauty. But this paradigm is being turned on its head by education. Today, more women than men have undergraduate and graduate degrees. According to the U.S. Department of Education, more than 57% of 2018 college graduates were female. The gap for master's degrees was even wider, 59% female, 41% male. Obviously, more education correlates with more financial security. Those that earn a college degree earn $78,000 on average compared to those with only a high school diploma earn $45,000. And although women still make 82 cents for every dollar a man makes, bullshit. The wage gap disappears with childless women. The same women who can't find a, wait for it, good man. Consequently, educated and uneducated women both flock to urban areas in hopes of finding Mr. Right. Unfortunately, the most eligible bachelors living in urban areas do not particularly care whether a woman is intelligent, educated, or successful. He cares if she is attractive. Again, duh. And what I'm about to say, both men and women are guilty of on different levels. A lot of women think that a guy will find attractive what women find really attractive. A lot of women find a guy that is obviously successful, well-educated, super intelligent, all those things that she finds that attractive, okay? And therefore thinks that if she's that way, then guys will find her very desirable, even if she's, 30 pounds overweight, her hair is shorter than his, old or older. But no, for guys, it's looks. It's always been looks. It'll always be looks. No matter how much social engineering tries to be done, it's going to be looks. We're visual creatures. It's the top of the list. Okay? You want to attract men? Those other qualities are cool, don't get me wrong, but you got to take care of your body. End of story. On the other hand, guys think, hey, because the top thing that attracts us is looks, if we just go to the gym and keep ourselves thin and muscular and fit, we can get any woman. Wrong. Your looks will get your foot in the door, but if you open your mouth and you have no confidence, no personality, no charm, charisma, any of that stuff, it's not going to go very far. Or you can have all the looks in the world, but if you don't have a job and you're not making any money and you're living with your mom and dad and you're 35 years old, again, good luck with your looks will get you so far. Maybe when you're younger, high school, college, when guys really don't need a whole lot of resources, if they're good looking and they got a six-pack, they can get girls. But as you get older, you got to have other things. So both parties, men and women, are a little delusional in the sense that because what they're attracted to, they think the opposite will be attracted to. Not the case. She goes on, he cares if she is attractive. I've already tackled the subject, and the comments from men prove my point. Thus, the educated women are competing with more women, but have fewer choices of eligible bachelors. And she has even fewer choices if she lives in an urban area versus a rural area. I don't get this whole urban area thing. In urban areas, there's going to be more people, so more options. So what's the problem? A lot of sirens today, if you guys can hear them. This leaves women who desire independence with your typical Hobson's choice. If you choose higher education and delay marriage, you can obtain your grandmother. You can obtain what your grandmother probably had to get from a partner: financial security. But you also risk never finding a partner. That's a bunch of crap. The idea, look, girls can go to college and so let's just say graduate 22, 23 years old. They go on to their master's degree, which a lot do today. So let's just say they're out of school by 24, 25. They can still find a dude. That doesn't mean that it's all over because you've done that. But, and yeah, sure, they're pursuing their careers, but you can also meet guys as well. But they have that choice. Are they going to be the career women? Are they going to ride the carousel for 10 years? Are they going to be Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City? Follow that lifestyle, which, by the way, is a show, not reality. Or realize, okay, I've done my degrees, so I'm ambitious. I want to do well for myself. Now I can find a man, right? In your prime, in your peak. Or I'm going to find the top guy because I'm a strong independent woman that deserves the top guy because, feminism has told me so and Cosmopolitan told me so and I get all this attention from guys, so I'm just going to hold out. Next thing you know, 10 years later, 35, where are all the good men? There are no good men. Woe is me. I'm going to write an article and bitch about it. And that's what you have. But you also risk never finding a partner. If you don't choose education, then you might be stuck having to depend on someone. Oh, God forbid. Even worse, that someone could be controlling or a bad husband. That's not much of a choice. So in other words, in her view, in this extremes, you go to college, you pursue your degrees and a career. That means then it's impossible to find a good guy. Or you don't go to school, or you become a housewife, and you're immediately going to be married to a guy who's going to control you and do not so pleasant things. I can't say the A word here. That's how it's going to go. That's bullshit. But for drama, she's going to go one extreme or the other. And most women do not want to choose a man based on his bank account. Sure. Their financial independence allows them to choose someone based on kindness, intelligence, ambition, humor, and loyalty. Really? Because in the beginning of the story, she talked about she went out with a charming, good-looking, successful lawyer. Okay? It didn't sound like... none of her description of him did she say kind, intelligent, humor, loyalty at all. So right here, she's saying that's what they're looking for, but that's not what she was obviously looking for. She was looking for the top guy. Right? So... what the fuck's she talking about? But here's the rub. Most men are emasculated by the woman who can pay her own bills. They don't want that independent woman. Look, a lot of guys, they think it's cool a woman makes money and does well for herself and can pay for things. The problem is when she can't leave that assertive, driven, ball-busting personality at the office. She brings it home. That's what he can't deal with. Because no guy wants to be with some strong-ass, masculine woman. It's a complete turnoff. But a lot of them, they can't switch it off. Some can, but not a lot can. Thus, we have a slew of women frustrated with their dating options. They broke the glass ceiling only to find the roof deck unfurnished. In turn, this frustration snowballs into another problem. The infertility crisis. I can't say it today. With fewer eligible bachelors, many women are deciding to delay or forego marriage and kids. This creates an inverted population growth with a decreasing younger generation and older generation. As many demographers have warned, a society way too heavily with an older generation will have a devastating economic consequences. Well, that's happening. The birth rates are down, I believe, at a 6-year low. For 6 years running, it's lower and lower and lower. What is with the sirens today? Good Lord. Anyhow, the birth rate is just getting lower and lower and lower every year after year. People aren't getting married. Divorce is through the roof. Over 60% here in the West. The West as in the Western world. We know where it comes from. A lot of it has to do with feminism. To be clear, I'm not editorializing. These generalizations are both cultural and biological. And the data doesn't lie. Women are bettering themselves through education and men are not. Define bettering yourself. Going and getting worthless degrees. Or how about a guy actually picks up a book and learns and educates himself, but he doesn't get a degree. I didn't graduate from college. I told you guys that before. I dropped out of school for my first business when I was in my early 20s. Okay, and I never regretted doing that. I made a ton of money. But I didn't finish school. Believe me, I'm educated. I'm self-educated. I read all the time and educate myself. When I started this business here on YouTube, personal training business, everything I've done, I've learned through my own research and studying. So everything in finance and investing and all that, I learned myself. Okay, so don't say because he doesn't have a certificate or a degree on the wall doesn't mean that men aren't educating themselves. Now, believe me, a lot don't. Let's be honest here. A lot of men just sit on their ass and watch sports all the time and don't do shit. But a lot of guys self-educate. Okay, but that doesn't work for a lot of women unless he's making a ton of money through his self-education. Says here, and despite the cliche opposites attract, biology disabuses that platitude. The research on assortative mating shows that humans choose those that share similar traits, and education is a big one. For a lot of women, if you get a woman that has a master's degree, or she's a lawyer, she's a Juris Doctorate, and I guarantee in these dating apps, they want a guy that matches them. Okay, because believe me, as I told you before, women want a guy they can look up to. They want a guy that is actually does better than them, because then they feel they got a prize. Okay, not the effinist, the masculine effinist types. They want a guy they can look down on. But I'm talking about women that aren't masculine effinists, more feminine women. They want a guy that is doing better than them. That's a prize. But when you have so many women that have advanced degrees now and do well for themselves, and again, that's good for them for doing that. They made it happen. They want guys that are higher than them. Well, good luck, because more and more guys aren't going to college because they realize that unless they have a certain degree in something, it's not worth it. They're seeking trades more than ever. A lot more guys are starting businesses because they don't want to have be weighed down by incredible student loan debt throughout their lives. But a lot of women don't care. They want to have that so they can have that degree, because they can hide their debt, but they can always display those degrees they have. It's always about status. This leaves many of us in a thorny conundrum. Lower our standards or stay single. Instead of saying lower your standards, just stop being so damn picky. Or stop having a delusional sense of your own worth. You're not in your 20s anymore. And as the hourglass empties, many of us are well aware that our rose is turning to dust. She said it, not me. Personally, I prefer to listen to this. Personally, I prefer to stay single until I find Mr. doesn't have you-know-what with prostitutes. That's a low enough bar. Translation, she's going to stay single no matter what until she finds the top guy. It's not going to happen. He is out there, and perhaps he doesn't have the fancy education, but he also won't give me anything to write about. Translation, he won't give me anything to have drama about, because they all love drama. Anyhow, guys, here's yet another article. A woman in mid-30s complaining, can't find a quote-unquote good man, when, as I've said countless times, there are plenty of good men out there. But again, good, as in what she mentioned later in the story about integrity, loyalty, kindness, those type of things, that's not in the, good department. Good is 6 figures, 6 feet tall, 6-pack, 6+ down there, and master's degrees, and speaks multiple languages, and is cultured, and traveled the world, and probably owns his own business, and plenty of other bullshit there too. Good luck, honey. But anyhow, it gives me a reason to do a video and get a good laugh, and give you guys a good laugh and entertainment, and make you feel better about yourselves today. But anyhow, that is it for today, guys. Be sure to comment down below, let me know what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.